Hello everybody and welcome to Drawing with Paolo. Today another special request. Alien! And so yes, we're going to be drawing the alien character. Here's his head. As you can see, it's like a long curved sausage or maybe like a zucchini with a split down the middle. This split is where we will have his front mouth come out of, well, not his front mouth, but the mouth coming out of the front, and his head over here. This alien character was designed by H.R. Geiger, or H.R. Giger, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but nevertheless, it's a really cool character. You can see here his upper gums, where his teeth will come out of that part, and we need to erase those lines. And then his pointed teeth come down from here, and of course his jawline. And this character designed by Mr. Geiger is a combination of insect, robot, alien, of course, and it's really cool. And you'll see that there's certain parts of this character that are, I would say, very robotish because they're like tubes and wiring coming out of the side of it, and then there's this very bug-like mouth with these sharp teeth at the front. And so, the alien is really exoskeleton. So you can see some muscle tissue on top of exoskeleton. So it's like an armor, sort of like a beetle. And that's what its head is sort of like. And so here are his teeth. And of course, there's this part here in the middle that's that mandible that sort of comes out of the, not a mandible, but more like a proboscis that comes out of its throat, and which actually kills his prey, and it's a really cool feature. So it gets in front of the prey, and then this thing just comes out of the middle of its mouth. And sometimes they capture their prey and they put eggs inside them, and then these eggs grow and then come out of the host and become another alien. But I'll spare the details for you guys. You can always watch the movie. These alien characters are part of a few different movies. There's Alien and Aliens, which in my opinion are the two best ones, and there are many more out there. But if you're of age, and I would say 16 and above, you can rent those Alien and Aliens movies, and they're really good. And they've aged quite well because these movies were made a while ago, so I would say in 1980s-ish, and they're still pretty cool. And you'll learn more about these Aliens characters. I'm pretty sure that you know them from maybe Aliens versus Predator, and but the original stuff is way better in my opinion. So here's his chin, and we need to erase those lines that come down in here. And then here's his lip here, with a little split down the middle. So these characters are really cool to make, and I would say this drawing is pretty difficult. There's lots of detail, such as these little tendons that are coming around to his face, and another tendon line sort of over here, like that. And it's a high definition, if you like, or a very detailed drawing. And I like to put my drawings into three categories. I would say category one, very simple drawings, such as the pumpkin drawing, the 3D letters drawing, maybe the dagger, perhaps the skull, are all level 1 drawings. And then level 2 drawings are sort of like the Simpson characters, maybe the Pokemon, and level 3 is just like the Terminator we did a few weeks ago, and then this Alien today. Of course, these are very high level drawings, and that's not to say, however, that if you're just starting out in drawing that you can't try this out. Even if this is considered, in my opinion, a level 3 drawing, you can still have at it. The point to drawing is to have fun and try stuff out. So I really hope that you give it a go and try out this drawing. And as I said earlier, Geiger made these characters very robotic-like, or very technologic. And we can see these tubes here coming out of his jaw and going to the side of his head. What these things are for, I have no idea. But these look like sort of electrical wiring that have metallic lines in them to help with bending. So we'll add this little chromey effect to them. So a very high reflective surface, and these are very black characters. They're dark black. And so we're going to use a lot of graphite today. So we're going to curve these lines here, and because this is going to be a long process, we're going to speed it up a little bit. I know some people at home will say, hey, you're drawing too quickly, and I totally get that. I understand, but I really try to make these videos under 1 hour. This is a 38-minute video, or maybe 39-minute video, and so I need to speed the process up a little bit. So you have full control over your YouTube videos. So just pause the video and then catch up. I highly recommend you watch it once, get a basic idea and understanding of what the drawing is all about, and then draw it once more with the video paused ever so often whenever you need to. So let's concentrate on these tubes here. We're going to add this little dash of reflection at the top, making sure to leave a little white line between each of those little squares, just like that. And we're going to make this lip section here. There's sort of like a little fold over here for this upper lip, and we're going to have to trace that all the way around. And then we're going to color that in with a nice gray area where you can see the gums are sort of meeting the upper lip there. We're going to color in the darkness of his mouth. It's very dark in there. That's you wouldn't want to see me anywhere near the interior of that mouth. No, thank you. And this section here is really where we're going to see sort of like that a fleshy muscle on the side of his face here that goes along the jawline. This is sort of like no skin, right? These characters don't have any skin. As I said before, it's more like an exoskeleton, and you have certain muscle tissue on top of that exoskeleton, sort of like insects or crabs. They're really, really protected from the outside and very hard to defeat. And these guys, by the way, their blood is acid, so if you end up chopping one up, then the blood falls on, well, fall on metal or on the ground, will burn right through. It is crazy. These alien characters are pretty sweet. So we're going to draw this nice line, continuous line from the top to the bottom there. And then make sure to leave those little tendons, those white lines there, white. We want to keep them very visible. Alright, so add a bit of shadow here to the bottom of the lip, like that. And we're going to color in this, this lip section here just a little bit, leaving a little bit of white there to give a nice 3D effect. And we're going to be drawing over these lines over and over again because I'm not going to be using the paper technique today, so I really want to smudge my drawing purposely. I want to make sure that my drawing ends up pretty smudged, and that's why I'm starting here on the right side of my drawing, because I know that my palm is going to be going over it a few times, like we did with the Terminator drawing last week or a few weeks ago. And then the whole point is that we dirty the paper to add to the background a little bit. And so because my palm is going to be smudging this drawing, we're going to be having to redraw over certain of these lines that will sort of fade out as we're drawing along. Alright, so the back of the head here will be nice and black, barely transparent at all, but this portion here will be transparent. And so we're going to just finish up this trace here, add a bit more lead, and then it's not really lead anymore, you know that, right? This is a lead pencil. They don't have lead anymore, they're all made of graphite. So in the past they had lead in them, but we realized that lead was bad for you, so no more lead in pencils. There shouldn't be anyway. So the top of his head is sort of like a semi-transparent carapace. It's as if it was made of dark, clear plastic. And this front portion here will be nice and dark, and this is sort of like a reflection on the front here. So it's very black. And these aliens don't have any eyes. It's really spooky. They're very terrifying just because of the fact that you can't see their eyes at all. They don't have eyes. And so that begs to ask the question, like, how do they see? And I suppose they either use echolocation, sort of like bats, or dolphin, or I don't know how they get to see. We'd have to ask the guys that built this stuff for the movies. The back section here is sort of like the front, where it's very black, but then as we move on towards the middle, that middle section will be transparent, and we can sort of see its brain. And so we're going to make a gradient here from the top has to be light, and the bottom will be very dark. And we have this nice contour line here. The tricky part of this contour line is keeping the same thickness. Like this line here needs to be the same thickness throughout. And let's see if I can do it. Yeah. Yes, not bad. The thickness is pretty good. And we're going to have to make this part here much darker here at the bottom. But I'm going to add a little bit of reflection here. little reflective area back here, and another one maybe to give it a little bit more 3D look, like that. And color this in nice and dark. Remember, these alien characters are black, so we need to get very, very high contrast here. So the whitest whites and the blackest blacks if possible. And this is where the darkness ends, sort of, to a certain degree, and then the rest will be sort of transparent. I color this in even darker. Okay, so there's this little tube that's going from the back to the front. Don't ask what that's all about, I have no idea. And we got these things that sort of look like ears on the inside. Maybe that's what they do. Maybe they just hear us. They don't see us. They can, with these like 16 ears. I don't know how many there are. There's a whole bunch. That's how they hear people walking around. I don't know. I'm just inventing stuff by now. But you can actually see the inside here. And this reminds me of an ear shape, you see? Sort of like this. And the reason why I call them ears is just to give you a better example of what to think of when you're drawing the details within these parts. Because sometimes it's a great idea to have an analogy as to what to draw upon, all these basic shapes to understand how to draw them. Sometimes it's easier to base your drawing upon something you already know, and you already know what an ear looks like. And so it's easier to draw these drawings. And then there's these little nodules on top of its head, still within that carapace, within that exoskeleton thingy. We've got these little nodules there. And then we've got these ear-shaped things inside there as well, which I suppose it's his brain. Color that in. And we have to do all of them in this manner here. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit soon. A little thickness there, divider. A lot of detail in this drawing today. So, I congratulate you who will try to follow along. And I appreciate you trying it out. I salute you. Alright, so we're going to color all this stuff in a nice light gray, because that is within the head there, and so we're not supposed to see, it's not supposed to be like a clear glass. It's really as dark. With these tube lines going across here. And we're going to erase a nice lightning bolt of reflection there on his head. I know, some will say, but I just drew all that. Why should I erase it again? Well, the whole point is that we want this nice reflection. We want it to look like a very sheer piece of plastic, or whatever that is. And this little reflection here will look really cool. We'll make it look like it's transparent, that we have a piece of glass or a piece of clear material on top of that brain there. Of course, there's these curved lines here as well. And these lines have thicknesses to them, so there's a thickness. And we're going to color those in later on. I've been getting a lot of email on my Facebook channel, on my Facebook page rather, about using models when drawing. And I have a lot of people saying, hey, Paolo, how do I end up not using a model when I draw? Because I always have to use a model when I'm drawing. And I'm like, well, the answer to that is, what does it matter? It doesn't really matter if you need to use a model. The whole point is that you're drawing something, you want it to look realistic, therefore you need to use a model. Now, if you go to university and you study art, or you go to college and you study art, you will be, in most of the classes, be using a model, because you need to get used to drawing what you see before you can draw anything at all. And so the whole point is really looking at something, looking at that object you want to draw, transfer that imagery into basic shapes, and drawing those basic shapes until you can come upon making that drawing look realistic, sort of like this alien today. And so even for me, with drawing this alien, it's impossible for me to remember all of these details without using a model. So in front of me, which you can't tell from the camera angle, I have my computer on, and on my computer I have a whole bunch of images of the alien character in different poses and whatnot, which allow me to know where to put all these details. There are so many of them. Now, if you've drawn them frequently, then I would say you probably won't need a model. After drawing them 5 or 6 times, you'll probably say, yeah, a model isn't required anymore, because you get used to drawing the details and the proportions and all that. But without a model to begin with, you can never draw these things. It's very difficult. And so I would definitely encourage you to use models, and there's nothing wrong with that. Every artist today uses models for the human body or for bicycles or whatever else, it's way simpler to use a model than having to go by imagination. Now, of course, if you want to create your own character, then you would use your imagination and draw whatever you like. But now we're drawing a very specific thing, a very specific character, so in this case, you really need to use a model in order to make it look realistic. Now, the shading and all that stuff is something that we add upon ourselves. We don't have to follow the exact model for where the shade goes and where the reflections are. We can create all that on ourselves. But the whole idea here is that you want to really make sure that you have very precise illustration as far as the details are concerned, so models are required. Now, I don't know how many times I said model, so it's up to you guys to count it if you like. Count the amount of times I've said model and send me, there you go, I just said it again, and send me an email on my Facebook page saying, Paolo, this is the amount of times you said model. I may have said it too often already. So anyway, that being said, please feel free to use whatever support you need when drawing. The whole point is having fun, making it great as an experience, and therefore use any material you need to make it fun for yourself. Alright, so we're going to start coloring in this head section here, making it a little bit darker to attach it to the front a little bit better. We want it to be nice and dark above this little curved line that we have there, a little white curved line that will eventually be, be adding some curved lines in there. But this has to be nice and dark here at the bottom. And we're going to redefine that lightning bolt reflection. We erased it with our eraser, but we can redefine it there with our pencil with really light lines here, and to give it a little bit darker element to make that really pop out. We really want the nicest whites and the nicest blacks as far as this drawing is concerned. There we go, this top nice reflection like this. That's it, that's coming along pretty good. And now I'm going to erase here to clean up my page, and you'll notice that I have been smudging my paper quite a bit with my palm there, and that's awesome. That's exactly what I want to do. You can see that right above the head there's a little bit of a white contour line, and we used that before. If you've been following me for a bit, you've noticed that we've drawn a Simon Riley character, Ghost, and with that Ghost character we sort of erased around Ghost to make him look like he has a nice white outline, which makes him pop out of the page a little bit. We're going to use that technique today with this alien character, and therefore you really need to smudge that piece of paper with your palm, and don't wash your hand. Keep it nice and dark there so that you can actually erase something around there. And this will bring up, the idea of contrast. So contrast is the differences between the whites and the blacks. We want the whitest whites, or as white as your piece of paper can afford, and the darkest blacks. And you can see that I'm pressing quite hard here on my pencil to make this nice and black at the bottom of the head there. And so that's why I use an HB pencil. The HB pencil allows me to draw very light lines and very dark ones as well, and that's really my choice. I really like using these pencils to draw foundation lines very lightly and to then color very dark darks. And this, by the way, is clavicle, I suppose. There are different models of these aliens, and I'm drawing one from, I guess, the first movie. And you've got these tubes here that go from the wrap around the front of him there, and there are two of them like this. And you can see his neck is very small there compared to his head. Here's the second tube that comes from the front to the back, and this first tube hides behind the second one. Some people have difficulty using one pencil to draw a whole drawing, and therefore I like using HB. HB pencil is very soft, but it's also hard at the same time, which means I can control both how dark and how light I want my drawing to go. But a lot of people will also use multiple types of pencils. If you go within the H's, so H1, H2, H3, the higher you go in the H side of things, the harder the pencil becomes. Therefore, the lighter the lines and the longer your graphite will last, right? You don't need to sharpen these guys very much because, I mean, they're very hard, and so they barely leave a line on your piece of paper. And on the other side, the other spectrum is if you go into the B's, B1, B2, B3, and so forth. The B's, the higher up you go into the B's, the softer the pencil becomes, the darker they become. But these, you'll finish them off rather quickly because they lay down a lot of graphite rather quickly. And the point is, you make very black black. So there's nothing stopping you in getting multiple pencils, some H's and some B's, to draw your drawings and getting that graphite going very nice and dark contrast. So we're working on the spinal cord here, and these exhaust tubes. I suppose they're exhaust tubes. I don't know what they're for. They look like mufflers essentially. So maybe this is how they exhale. They probably can't breathe with that proboscis in his mouth there. Probably breathe through those tubes. There's a little neck back there. I sort of don't understand that the sort of spinal cord on its back there. The spinal cord in a human body is to keep us straight, give us solidity, strength in the core, and so they're helping us stay vertical. But these spines here just like float off the back there onto a little floaty thing. So I'm not too sure what they're for. They really look cool. They look scary. As soon as you see human bone, they're just unnatural, I suppose. So they look pretty cool on this character. While I color in his neck here, we're going to finish up some details there on that spinal cord thingy. But I sort of don't get it. All right, we're going to add nice dark lines here. And to give that idea of curving, I'm going to curve that over just like this. Little curved lines here. Zigzaggy curved lines. And we're going to make nice rounded lines here as well. Curved lines to go all the way up. And we want to give that the idea of volume to this drawing. We want to make it look like it's 3D. And you can see to the right of my hand there, you can see where my finger marks are. Right above my hand there, you have little finger marks right in front of the mouth of the alien. That's to show that my hand is really, really full of graphite underneath. And I really like that because I really am going to use that as a detail to the backdrop of our drawing. These little triangular tooth marks or tooth shapes, we're going to color them in gray, and later on we're going to make them nice and dark as well. Makes for a little pretty cool detail inside that tube shape or whatever those things are. Keep in mind that for this drawing, the light will be coming from the top left. Therefore, we need to shadow the bottom right of everything. And so we're going to add some shading here to the to the right side of this tube. So the right bottom side of everything needs to be darkened. So like here, so this is the right side, and then the underneath part, so right bottom side needs to be darkened. Just because the light comes from the top left. If it was the opposite, if the light was coming from the top right, then the bottom left of everything would be darkened. Bottom and left, right? Bottom and left, not only bottom left. So this whole front part here needs to be dark due to where the light source is from. And so on and so forth. We'll just keep adding layers and layers and layers of graphite here onto this drawing. Alien. I'm pretty sure some of you guys will know this character from Aliens versus Predator, right? I'm pretty sure the new guys, and girls, when I say guys, I mean everybody, will probably have seen the Aliens versus Predator franchise. I'm not such a fan. I haven't watched those so much. I really like the originals more. I encourage you guys to check them out on iTunes or maybe Netflix. They probably have those on right now, and they're really, really cool. But they're scary, so be old enough to be watching these things, or have a friend around to help you get through it. It's nothing like Chainsaw Massacre, but they're pretty horrifying movies. Here, so these little curved triangular pieces will be nice and black. Make them nice and dark, sort of like tooth-shaped triangles. And then because of where the shading is, this section here needs to be nice and dark. So where the light comes from. Just like this. Very good. Make this nice and dark around those triangles here. Just like that. And then continue the shading. Oh, broke my pencil. This pencil is driving bananas. It's sometimes when I press too hard, the pencil is sort of like pushing itself back into it. Not the pencil, but the lead. And it's ridiculous. It's not allowing me to draw properly. As soon as I press too hard, the lead goes back in, and now I just broke it. So it's like, it's like imagine a violinist with his violin with the chords breaking all the time. You can't play a tune too well, And so my instrument is this pencil, and so I'm really depending on it to function properly. I'm pretty sure I have a 0.7 lead in here because I am drawing with a 0.7 pencil. Wouldn't make any sense to have a 0.5 lead in a 0.7 pencil, but I'm pretty sure it's the right size. If it's just, I don't know, maybe it's worn out somehow. It's not holding the lead in place. Sort of a pain in the butt. Pain in the butt, yeah. Alright, color this front, make this a lot darker. This part too, a lot darker under there. And now we're going to erase a few sections here to show you what the finished product should look like at the end. Is we really want this white line all the way around the character. It's going to look really cool. But chances are we're going to have to redraw on top of these things because, as you can see, my teeth aren't so defined anymore. And the reason for that is because my palm has been brushing on top of them over and over again, so start smudging our drawing. I'm going to work on his arm here. Add those contour lines. Get this going a little bit with more tendons. Just like that. Nice little tendon area. Alright. I'm going to add a little thickness here and add some curved lines in his arm to give that idea of three-dimensionality. Three-dimensionality like this. Here we go. There we go. Alright, we're going to color that in. And this whole section here needs to be like the top one there that we did before. There's the top tubes. This needs to look the same. And color this in nice and dark. Remember, the bottom right needs to be black. Anyway, darker. Just like that. Color this whole arm in here. Nice and dark. Just like this. And we're going to add a gradient too, so we're going to make sure that this section here is all darkened up with a little bit of reflection on there for it to look realistic. We're going to add more detail to this section here of the tube, part of his shoulder. Nice and black over here. Make this work and look really nice. Lots of contrast is what we're looking for. Bit more detail to this arm section here. We want to make it nice and dark over here and use a gradient as well, just like on his head. Very dark at the bottom and slowly, gradually going lighter and lighter as we move up his arm. So all this side here will be nice and dark. And we're going to be coloring the front of his body here, which needs to be totally black. His chest, the front sort of looks like a skeleton chest, so we can actually see each bone the front here, and we can use these lines. Once I'm going to color this in nice and black first, and then we're going to use to draw those lines to make them look like a skeleton at the front. So make this nice and dark under here, and then we need to put the shadow here to the bottom of this tube. Like that, very black. We're going to go over these lines over and over again. Alright, we're going to make this front part here a lot darker. And his head will be producing some shadow underneath here. This front part here as well. Very, very black. And then here's the rib cage section. It'll just look like your rib cage. You can feel, if you're a little skinny, you can feel those rib cage lines, and we need to make the same kind of thing here. But this is more like an exoskeleton, which means that the skeleton is outside. It's on the exterior instead of being on the interior like we have ours. We'll have the exoskeleton on the outside here for this alien. There we go. Make this nice and black at the bottom. Make every section defined that way. And it's coming around. This guy looks pretty scary, just like it's supposed to be. Make it darker over here. And then we're going to work on those tubes in the back there. Those exhaust pipes, and I'm not sure exactly what they're all about. We'd have to ask H.R. Geiger color this part in here, trace the outline, and then this is the effect that we've been looking for, is getting that nice white line outline. So this is the technique we're going to be using. Nice eraser lines on this smudged up background, which looks pretty cool. And we're going to make sure it's super white, or as white as our paper will go. Nice horizontal, they're more a diagonal line here. Diagonal hash marks, and make sure the teeth are white. He brushes daily, you know, he wants to have nice clean teeth. Just like that. There we go, a little bit of detail inside there, little hash marks. We were speaking of models earlier. I don't know if you know, but your own body, your own face can be a great model for your drawings, and cartoonists and animators will use a mirror to look at themselves in the mirror and take a expression in their face, make an expression on their face, and then look at themselves in the mirror with that expression and draw them on a piece of paper. And that's something that you can do as well. So those are really cool techniques for any kind of drawing. Even for this alien here, I can look at myself, look angry in the mirror, and draw what I see. And so, you know, that sometimes helps with our drawings. I'm going to add some detail to this bone here, this sort of spinal cord, spinal column, which I still don't understand what it is for. It looks really cool, and that's pretty much it. That's probably why it's there. It's just for a nice design element, because there's no other reason to have a floating spinal column back there. Trace this outline here, nice and dark, and add a bit of 3D to it. So we're going to color in a nice dark line underneath it, considering once again that the light is coming from the top left. This little section here might be in the shadow, just a little bit. And then, of course, underneath the bones here, it needs to be nice and dark too. And as you can see, my palm is resting quite firmly on that alien head, and so I'm most likely smudging some stuff. And so it's normal for us to have to go and draw on top of that stuff over and over again, and that's okay. There's no worries there. See, I'm even smudging it naturally on purpose. Get some blackness on this end here, and reposition my page here a little bit. There we go. That's the center. You know, at home, don't be shy to turn your drawing around. That's okay. I can't turn my drawing because I want to keep it straight onto the camera. But you guys at home can move it around as much as you need to. No worries. I would, if I wasn't filming, I'd be moving this piece of paper, this baby, all around, you know, to help me draw. So there's those little lines again, curved lines all over the place on this guy. All over the place. And our little gradient effect over here. We're going to add a little chromey lines to every one of these curved lines here, so we're going to speed that up a little bit. Zzz. I wish I could draw that fast, you know, that'd be awesome. See if I can make this line continue without having to ask for more lead here. See if my pencil will work for me. Let's try this one. Yes, just barely. Outline here, and then more curved lines inside of that. Very mechanical, these parts here in the back, which look like mufflers to a car. Nice detail in here. Cross hatching a little bit. Making it nice and 3D looking. Remember, a tube has this circular pattern, so you need to have a gradient, a nice dark line at the bottom, and working our way up, we're making it lighter and lighter. This part here too is tubular, and so as any cylinder works, it needs to look the same, darker at the bottom and lighter as we go up. Just like that. Alright. A little bit more detail here to the spinal cord. Each one of those vertebrae So after, what we're going to do is we're going to use our eraser, and we're going to erase all the way around the character and then add some reflective surfaces to his body, which will give it even more of a 3D look. So let's start with doing the contour. Erase a nice contour line here. The tougher part will be in between that vertebrae there. Careful not to erase too much. That doesn't really matter though, you can always redraw, and that's fine. And we're leaving a little bit of eraser residue that we're going to have to wipe away. And as we wipe away, we're going to, quite ironically, resmudge our paper, but that's okay. We like that sort of unfinished look or dirty look for this alien character. See, I erased a little bit of his head there at the top. That's fine. We'll re-erase certain areas here. Love this pencil eraser. Very cool. I'm going to retrace his jawline here. Redo that, make it nice and black. Color that back in. Slip line, here we go. I forgot a little section here between his pipes. And we'll put diagonal lines like this. And guys, you know, this is it. This is it for the alien. For those of you that wanted an alien drawing, I really hope you like this one. I think it's fantastic myself. I think I did a great job. And of course, you know, if you're drawing things that you like to draw, they always come out much better than the ones that you don't feel like drawing. And this one, I really felt like drawing. Can you tell? Got a bit of reflection here too. And so this one is a knockout. Pretty cool. I'm going to add a few more reflective areas, and we'll call that a day. So guys, thank you for watching Drawing with Paolo. These 8 million views and 36,000 subscribers are all thanks to you. These drawings are made for you, and I'm glad to see you here every week. And keep in mind, I have tons of videos out there for you. So go ahead and watch them. Have a wonderful day. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. And I want to call it that after doing these little lines here. And maybe a few more on the neck here. A little reflective area. Maybe here. A little bit there. And a little bit over here. And a little bit here. Detach those lines there and make it look a little bit deeper in certain areas and raise in others. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching Drawing with Paolo. And we'll see you in another episode of DWP. Alright. We're done. I can't seem to finish. See you soon.